welcome to Crank It Up Podcast, the YouTube home of bringing games. I'm Jim Price, creator of Erudia Battle of Birthrights, and today I want to introduce you to the recruits of each class. If you've been following along with these videos, I want to remind you that there are just a few days left in our giveaway, and all you need to do is post a screenshot of your game in our Discord. You can find more details at our Discord in the link in the description. For those who are new, Erudia is an area control game, one where players collectively compete for a battlefield in a way that advancing too quickly can be exploited. There is value in progressing slowly and methodically, and recruits tend to have the lowest power of a class. From a balance standpoint, all cards are judged in value based on their rank, which is largely a factor of rarity. Recruits are common, often appearing 4 times in a class, but that isn't an excuse for a bad ability. All Erudia cards go through a strict love them or lose them vetting process, and you never want to create a unit that feels like a waste. Just because someone has to be the weakest doesn't mean they are weak, and with each of these abilities, I'll explain briefly what they are and why I like them. Every recruit offers different value to their class. Some are payoff, others are setup, some are versatile, but all are important. The Calvary Recruit is the horseman. If you've seen the Calvary video, you know how much I love this unit because they can get crazy quickly. They encapsulate the cavalry movement momentum and quickly become quite large. What's really fun about the horseman is the Isidos factor. The Isidos is usually a blind deploy, and often you don't want to recruit. Because it is blind, you are generally looking for power if done terminally, and recruits would supply the least power. But with the horseman, I tend to get excited when one comes up, because they are the perfect unit to run through the cavalry engine. If you could run a horseman through both outposts, they easily reach 7 power, and with all the other cavalry movement, your recruit easily becomes the payoff for establishing your movement engine. The chemist recruit is the tinkerer, the most flexible unit to play. The tinkerers can replace any unqualified item play. For example, they can replace plays that grant items, but not weapons from someone like Branford, or ingredients from someone like Dalton. This means that they can be played with your support tactic, and if you use a specific tactic, it gains a shield. This is great as it allows you to play the unit and shield it at the same time to ensure that you aren't wasting your morale with easy defeats, especially since the chemists love to use morale for extra hand size. But the chemist can also play additional items, which the tinkerer can replace. This makes the tinkerer have swarm potential on mountains or gain benefits where unit quantity matters. If you think of items as providing temporary power, tinkerers offer a way to make that permanent while also being a flexible play that can help maintain presence on every battlefield for converging later. The cleric recruit is the initiate. The initiate is a fate unit, offering a meaningful choice, and I must admit that choosing between the two directions is agonizing under certain circumstances. The cleric constructs use charges for powerful effects, but can be difficult to charge because they require full health. The initiate is able to expedite that, either placing a charge directly or moving charges from holy to constructs. You can use this to throttle holy if you aren't ready, or greatly speed up your constructs. You can also charge holy directly, which not even Seria, the cleric leader, can do, and that makes every initiate a threat. The question is then, what does holy do? Let's just say that I consider the scene where Eris plays for holy, and specifically what comes after, to be the most iconic, meaningful, and memorable video game scene of all time. And since this game is a love letter to Final Fantasy and similar games, you can be sure we're doing it justice. The fighter recruit is the brute. To contextualize the brute, I want to talk about the gladiator, the elite, who can deal 1 area damage. 1 damage to every rival target, including the ability to uncloak, versus 1 unavoidable damage. Both are vital, but it's actually the brute I fear more often, because unavoidable damage is crushing. It's very hard to defend against, as it requires healing or health bonuses. It can get through shields, and the simple act of being damaged is meaningful to fighters. The challenge for the brute is to play them like fighters should play them. It's easy to be tempted to defeat everything, and there are times where you want that, but the fighters have a really interesting payoff for defeating units to make the damage matter. Thus, leaving that damage for a better moment later is very fulfilling, especially since it is so hard to avoid. You'll also notice that the brute itself has 3 health, making them more difficult to kill, because the fighters are not bursty in the traditional way, and need to be around longer to achieve their endgame. Additionally, this ties indirectly into the leader Kaimel's ability and wanting to ensure that the brute remains in play. The knight recruit is the page. who wants you to play from behind. As long as one rival unit has a higher power, the page attack will gain a strength and draw a card. This means that your page will never lead off a battlefield, but incentivizes you to play from behind and not be threatened by the fact that you are temporarily losing. Triggering a page can trigger Maxim, who in addition to gaining the strength, can immediately move it off the page, allowing you to maintain your losing presence for someone like Cher, or send it over to the page for further catch-up. A strength means so much more than basically being 3 power, but the page is very easy to trigger. The only way to block it is to pretty much play your own recruits. The Knights love card draw because they want to get to specific cards to establish their engines and have a very strong second half. The page is a unit who doesn't mind losing and helps expedite your strength engine and your draw engine. Note that the page doesn't require losing overall, just having a higher power unit, as this is a means to suppress your rival from playing powerful units, allowing the Knights further time to get going. The Scout Recruit plays a fundamentally different role from most other recruits. The decoy is just that, a decoy. Or is it? The decoy can allow you to pivot onto a nearby battlefield, obscuring your true target. Since the scouts provide deck foresight, the decoy should have advanced knowledge of what the new unit will be. But the decoy can also be a fake out. In the event you are actually going for the current battlefield, the command will let you increase its unusually low power. The decoy gets all the advantages of being low power, with a chance to be better if you wait for a turn, as the power increase depends on what turn it is triggered. Because the decoy needs to actually be a decoy, it also has a health bonus. You can play the decoys to continually sacrifice themselves until they hit their intended unit, but you really shouldn't. The Thief Lookout has a chance to steal items before your rival has a chance to use them. The Lookout is a high-risk, high-reward card, but there is always the chance that you can get a steal without any cloaked units. However, the number of cloaked units increases the odds of success, and you can steal any revealed items, not just one. Timed correctly, this has a chance to be really impactful, but even just knowing what is coming can also be impactful. The Bandit Lair can give you the information you need for a timely steal, or Lookout can provide information so the Bandit Lair charges can be used to bottom deck a key rival card. These cards work in tandem to ensure that the Lookout gets the maximum reward, even if items are not the only reward. Finally, there is the Wizard Recruit, the Apprentice. The Apprentice draws power from spells in your deck, and can use them in any number of ways. You can draw them as cards, or you could charge the Apprentice. You make this decision for each spell, allowing you to mix and match. Sometimes it makes sense to charge the Apprentice and draw the cards with Minerva, where missing on a spell has more consequences. You can use the charges to play spells, or to get a small power boost. I love this flexibility, because it allows you to do more with less. Because drawing during your regroup is optional, and the wizards have strong draw anyway, it's certainly viable to have one apprentice charge and return the spells, only for the spells to still be there for the next apprentice. Knowing that the spells are there combos well with Minerva, and you can now cast fewer spells because of the temporary power, allowing for bigger plays later on. Now that you've seen all the recruits, which recruit has you most excited? We are currently doing a vote to see which primary will be added to the demo version, so be sure to get on our Discord and vote. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, let's shut it down.